today, actually, my colleague Christopher should be here because he's like the master brain behind this project, and I support him with this. First of all, I would like to ask you. I guess all of you have a smartphone. Did you? And most of you, who is smoking here, Hamid? Here, you know, like on cigarette packs, you often have that box that warns you on how like that you should not smoke because it's unhealthy. Did you ever see a smartphone with a warning on it? Warning, smartphones can be time killers. There's no greater gift for you today than the next 24 hours. Use them wisely. People are more important than machines. We all use them, and I still believe that connectivity to the world gives us a lot of possibilities. But yeah, we need to use them wisely. So today, I want to introduce you to the project Circle 21 and how we can address resource efficiency in digital education. What does it mean, sustainability and dilemmas in industry, economy, and ecology? And if we would have solutions, or what possible solutions we have. So today, this is about hardware issues, what we transmit to our students. On the other hand, as I said, we have the company where we have software solutions. So Circle 21, it's a project with IBBF. It's the Institute of Vocational Research in Berlin, the Shift company. It's an industry partner and a university in Lithuania from Kaunas. This is the partner from Berlin, who are as I said, Christopher is here. If you can see, he's the fourth person from the left, who is designing or who designed this project, where I support when I can. Shift is a producer of sustainable smartphones. What this means, I will tell you in a little bit. They are in a little town in Hesse, in the center of Germany. They try to be socially and ecologically sustainable in their with their products. Here are like some screenshots. What do they do with the money? You can see they try to give it or support sustainability products for their own workers and advance in their production. Here's the homepage. I advise you to go there, watch some videos, especially the Future Vision talk is really nice. Circle 21. Here is the question, like when we transfer this to vocational education, how can technical vocational education cope with sustainability dilemmas in ICT and e-mobility? Circle 21 works in blended learning formats to address sustainability conflicts and outline solutions. Here, I will leave the slide for a couple of seconds to read. This is like the whole scope of the project. It is like when we see, like when we address education, it means that we need to have the devices like our smartphones. It's not a shift phone. I should be ashamed for this, but this is like the status now. We need to be connected to the world, especially how the last year or even more have showed us. We need access to information to be up to date, to access information, to get educated, to exchange. However, like when we use our devices, we also rely on resources, and they are excavated. They are used and usually or quite often not under very good conditions. Also, like there are social problems that come along with this. So what is Circle 21 doing? Like they were screening curriculum. So how are students taught in Germany? when it comes to sustainability dilemmmas. Expert interviews were executed and educational modules were developed. There are test runs. Currently, there's one test run at TU Berlin. There will be more test runs in Lithuania and also, I think, in cooperation with Shift. Through these test runs, we will get feedback on the learnings and also we ask students to design the modules. This gives therefore you can adapt the education material and you can establish the toolkit what can be used for other institutions, maybe even for you, or maybe seen it can be of interest to you. The format of this module now is there's a theoretical part where you address ICT, you address e-mobility, also to address solutions like modularity and circularity. In hardware, there's a practical part where students actually deconstruct phones that are able to be deconstructed. Like this phone, my Samsung, you cannot open. So if it breaks, I need to send it to a repair shop, or I sadly throw it away. And what is worse, like to have a beautiful smartphone on a nasty landfill where we just lose our resources, where we pollute more our beautiful planet. And the third part will be that the students will design modules that can be implemented in schools and secondary learning institutes. This is the outline of the course. I will get to the details that we will get later or during this presentation, just to give you a view. It consists of a theoretical part, practical part, and then of a self-study part, as I said before. Why is this so? First, Hamid asked, if I know what can I share to you about digital education and vocational education, hybrid modules. So I came up with this course because it combines both, for theory, because we all still sit at home, as you all know, and also is there a possibility to engage students in practical tasks. So this we tried in the challenge 1, 2, 3. Where students actually open smartphones and have to identify problems. This is the industry partner, the Shift GmbH, where they produce the smartphones. They also have an assembly line in China. And even there, you might ask, why in China? Why can't it be maybe in Germany? So it's more sustainability. Even in China, sounds a bit bad, in China, the staff gets almost the same salaries as in Germany. So to have the sustainability along the whole value chain. The learning goals for the students are to raise awareness of resource sustainabilities and their conflicts that appear within in vocational education, introduction of modular products like smartphones, what we all use, and linking the zeitgeist with theory and practice. Like zeitgeist in this context, I'm meaning when we talk about Friday, I don't know about Palestine, but about Fridays for Future demonstration, where the youth demands for more sustainability also from us. And this is why we also, in my opinion, have to address it not only with software, in education, but also with practice in hardware. And so the younger generation is also empowered to develop own education materials, as also they are multiplicators of sustainable solutions in the future. A short introduction to the content. So I guess the SDGs there, everyone knows about them. Here are the 17. But what happens when we want to achieve one and we boycott the other one? This is really bad, but sometimes we can't do it. I always say, I have usually the problem during lunch. I want to eat something, and it's usually my mind says pizza, 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 eat pizza. But then I said, hey, Martin, you gained a lot of weight during Corona, you should eat healthy. So why do you always go for the bad option? This is a conflict I have. Like it's for my own body, if I want to be sustainable, it's a sustainability, it's a private sustainability dilemma I have almost every day. I think you also know, like when it comes a lot with smoking, for example, it comes a lot like being mobile, using transport, etc. Within the SDGs, there are a lot of, or not a lot, but there are also like the sub-targets. For example, this is quality in education. We also, or the whole world, or all programs are asked to also fulfill the sub-targets within the SDGs. When we go here, quality in education, as we mentioned before, smartphones, they give you access to information, what you need. This is like how sold smartphones every year, as we all see, they rise. So it's 2018, a bit older graphic.
Yes.
Yeah. 1.5 billion smartphones a year, new ones, like not cumulative, but new ones. Smartphones, this graphic is in German. They, of course, they consist of plastic, but also of rare materials, what need to be excavated. Like here, for example, tantal and palladium, when we look in the green box. And as we know, excavation of these materials, they cause social and ecological problems. Here's a picture of Congo, I think it's Democratic Republic of Congo, where the seltenen Erde, like the resources are excavated and the forest is cut before there are holes, people get injured and sometimes even die. The protection of the workers are not very good. The holes sometimes collapse. This, for example. But also when people work in the assembly factories, as you all know, Apple, not to bash Apple because they have very good products, but they even had to install suicide nets because many people try to commit suicide working in the assembly chains in Taiwan. Like this is like when you look a little bit on the internet, you can find these pictures. So this doesn't seem like it's very socially sustainable. This is a picture from a huge landfill, Europe's biggest waste area that is in Ghana, where container ships go and just export our trash. Of course, it can create jobs, but this is not what we should do because it's not healthy. It contaminates soils and our lungs, and it's not work that's we would like to also do by ourselves. So there we see that the SDGs, they are conflicting. If we want to have access to education, if we want to be mobile, we need to, or we are blocking or we set barriers to the other goals to achieve them. As you see, there can be all of us, we can play that to a huge extent. So what are conflicting goals? There are, when we set two goals, for example, who simultaneous full fulfillment is exclusive. So it means we cannot do the fulfill it, and we usually in many programs we ignore that. As you all know, maybe also from media, we always try to ignore that. We say, now we go for SDG 4, we disregard the others. But to achieve SDG 4, for example, we decrease the possibility to achieve SDG 11, for example. And this is what is addressed with the students. Here there's like a digital board where they were filling out like what personal and dilemmas they have in the context of sustainability. And now I already come to the solutions. They, as I said before, the partner shift. They are producing sustainable and modular smartphones. So what does that mean? You can actually not tear them apart, but you can open them and then exchange it. And circularity means that we use the resources for new, or like not for new, but to repair other phones and eventually to for another product. Modularity, as you know, the main, or maybe no, it's the Lego stone. I don't know if you have that as kids in where you grew up. Like for us, it's like a main toy when we were kids. Like we just built houses or everything. On the right side, you see an old Nokia phone and how that would be if it would be modular, like with a huge SD card, with a microphone, with a camera, etc., etc. Like this is actually a modular smartphone, let's say, but it's an illustration, not an illustration, it's an art project. Modularity means that when a part breaks, that you also you're able yourself to change it. So what we see here is like we have the iPhone, again, of course, they're good products, but they're a bit mean, as we all know, because they just changed the screws, so people can't open it anymore. So you need to have a special Apple screw. So you can't change it, and you need to buy a new one. It's really mean. On the right side, we see a Samsung with a curved screen. I don't know if you ever saw that. Then it's complete idiocracy to have that product because there's no benefit to it and they break super fast and you can't repair it again. But people, it's marketing in a really good way. So we get it because it's easy, it looks nice, etc., etc. But in the end, we need to throw that product away. We waste our resources with all that comes along with it. Here is a little, that's also in German, a little graph on circularity, that the aim is not actually even to recycle something or not to put it in a landfill, but to reuse it, like to keep using things and just changing little parts. Again, on the circularity, that we talk about it, for me, it's also, it helps me a lot in my brain to think about the biological circularity. That means like I buy a bread, it molds, I put it on the, I make compost out of it and I can use it in my garden, ideally. And the technical circularity is like when I have a product, you use it, you give it back, they take out the resources or the resources are taken out and they go again in production and not into the landfills and not to Ghana, what we see. And I'm sure like in Palestine, you know similar problems where there's so much waste is produced and it's just sitting there. So here again to the format of the of that course, there's this theoretical part, the practical part, where the students in 3 units are set to repair the phones. So this is what they get. They got a phone in groups. They got a screwdriver, and then they had to, and we put broken parts into the phones, and they had to find out what it is. So they got a bit upset, of course, because they had no clue. So they had to identify this. And then in the second round, they had to prepare the phone. I get to this later, they had to prepare the phone for the second group with another mistake. Like sometimes the display was broke, sometimes the microphone was broke, the SIM card holder didn't work. So they were, they had to learn it the hard way in self-study. So they picked up the phones at IBBF at Christoph's place and got home and were working to do that and prepared like an even more trickier question for the other groups. This is like also in German, I didn't have the time to translate this. So in week 1, they got it, had smaller problems to solve. Then they got a spare part, a broken spare part, they had to put in the phone and give it to the second group, and then they got another one. So in the end, they had many many spare parts they had to do to integrate in the product and to give it to the others. This is like like how Christoph suggested they should separate it so no parts get lost, because it could have been a bit tricky. Why is this so? Like, this is to show and to experience yourself that you actually can repair something. It's quite easy. You don't need to have any knowledge on it. The product is a good product. I'm convinced the camera could be better of that Shift phone I saw, but in the end, like when you want a car, you not always need to have a Porsche or Ferrari. You also can have a used car. Why do we always aim to have the best smartphones in our lives? That's like still a question to me, not to exclude myself from this. But while this, there have been also like problems, like just when we talk about blending learning formats in vocational education, the logistics is super tricky, of course, because still we are supposed, or we need to reduce our contacts still. So how to manage that people interact, people pick up the phones. But also what was also an experience, that there is a certain corona lethargy. I hope that word exists. Like, people get really tired of digital formats. They're just over it. They want to go out and meet. In the end, it was beneficial because the group work was possible again. Also, when I see also from my side, the digital challenges are that a certain entertainment is missing. Like, people, as I said, people are just over it to sit in front of a screen, to talk in front of a screen. They just want to do something else. They want to, I don't know, gossip about anyone, to talk. It's really missing them. And of course, the technical supervision was missing, but only so far. For one group, it was difficult, that they didn't manage to fix it, but also because they didn't read the instructions very well, because they thought only one part was defect, but it were two parts. And of course, we are missing the moderation in this whole process, because the contact is limited. Okay, this was the short presentation of this of the digital modules of hardware.